welcome to fancyforstampin.com. I'm Adamson-Cauler and I'm here today to show you how to make this cute little flamingo box and set of cards. All the cards look the same, so I'll only be going through one card with you today. This box should hold 4 at the very least, probably 6 maximum of these cards. And you just slide the cards in and pull them out. I have some envelopes back here. Okay, I'm going to be doing this video in 2 parts. We're going to start with making the card. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side. And in order to make the card, you need 1 piece of 8.5 by 5.5 inch basic black cardstock. You need a piece of Whisper white cardstock that measures 5.25 by 3.5. You need a piece of Whisper white cardstock that measures 5.25 by 4. A scrap of Whisper white cardstock. A piece of Whisper white cardstock that measures 3.25 by 3.5. This is for the banner on the front of the card. And a 1 inch by 5.5 inch piece of Pop of Pink Specialty Designer Series paper. And I'm using the pink stripes. You can use whatever color you want. You can use the other side if you like, but I like the pink stripes. So we're going to start by folding the card base in half, and then I'm going to take my cutting tool here and we are going to cut off a 1/2 inch from the front side of the card. This side is the front, here's the back, the fold is on my left. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to slide it in there and cut off a 1/2 inch. So now when you close the card, it's lopsided, but you can't see that, so let me put a piece of cardstock in there. See, now you can see that it's lopsided, but that's okay. We're going to fix that with the Designer Series paper. Getting out my rubber mat, and I'm opening up the card, and I'm going to run some adhesive along that edge that I just cut. And then with my Designer Series paper, I'm lining it up with the inside of the back edge to make sure that I attach it correctly, and then I'm going to close the card. So there you have the DSP. Okay, and this 5.25 by 4 inch piece of cardstock I'm going to put right here because it's hard to write on basic black. So I'm going to add some adhesive. And I'll just put that right there on the back. Okay, so the card base is done. Now we need to work on all of the decorations. Get rid of my scraps. Okay, let's see, what do I have here? The 5.25 by 3.5 inch piece of Whisper white cardstock is for the front of the card. It's where all of our decorations are going to go. And when it's finally done, it's going to fit on the front of the card like that. So let me get my foam. No, I don't need my foam mat. I'll just stamp right here because, okay, we need the Flamingo from the Pop of Paradise stamp set and Melon Mambo ink. Let me ink up my Flamingo. This is an older ink pad, so it takes a little while to get the stamp inked up. Okay, and I'm going to stamp it, oh, let's say, right about there, closer toward the bottom than the top, because we need room for that banner, and over toward the left a little. I'm going to stamp. Oops, I made a mistake there, but that's okay. That's going to get covered up with all of my embellishments. Okay, so I stamped that flamingo, and I'm going to set that aside. Next thing I need is my scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to stamp from Pop of Paradise stamp set the large leaf and this leaf that sort of looks round, and then I'm going to emboss them with gold embossing powder. So the first thing I'm going to do is run my, I didn't get it out, or did I? And I just, here it is, run my embossing buddy over my scrap cardstock. And then with Versamark ink, I'm going to stamp both of these leaves. There's one. And two. And then I'll sprinkle it with some gold embossing powder. And I have a paintbrush I usually use to clean up the image a little if I need to, but we're going to be cutting this out, so it doesn't really matter. If you give me a second, I'll go set this with my embossing tool, heat embossing tool, and I'll be right back. So I've got my leaves embossed in gold, and unfortunately there's not a punch for these, so you are going to have to sit and cut them out by hand. It's called, we'll have to do a little fussy cutting on these, and I guess that's what I'm going to do right now. So I finished cutting out my leaves, and I forgot to tell you that you also need a small gold foil doily that we're going to cut in half, and you're going to need a quarter of the white paper doilies, of one, just a quarter of one. So you cut it in half and then cut it in half again. Okay, and you're going to need some gold metallic thread. All right, so I got my stamped image here, and I'm going to start assembling. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to layer this gold foil doily that I cut in half. I'm going to layer both of them. I don't know why I used a small one. I guess I could have used a large one, but I'm thinking maybe the large one was too big. So there, I've sort of lengthened the doily, and I'm going to attach that. You see how it's covering up that mistake right there? The beauty of stamping. You can hide your mistakes. So we'll put that on like that. And then I'm going to cut some, well, I'm going to take some of this gold metallic thread and wrap it around my fingers about 5 or 6 times and cut it. And then I'll add a little adhesive here and lay this down on the adhesive, like so. Okay, and now I have my quarter doily. It's still sticky there. Let me spread this out a little. I'll add my doily over that so that it covers most of the gold. I think I need a little more adhesive. Yes, I do. Okay, and then I've got my leaves and some dimensionals. And I'll put a dimensional on the back there, and I will run it up the right side of my card, and another dimensional on this leaf. And if you notice, I cut these out. I mean, where I could. You don't have to because it's going over white, but I just did. We'll put that there. And there we have that. It's almost done. Almost done. What we need to do next is the banner. And for the banner, I'm using a 3/4 inch by 3.5 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock. And I am using, oops, almost threw the wrong thing away, using the sentiment from the Love and Affection stamp set. This one is Sending a Smile Your Way. So I'm going to gold emboss this as well. So once again, where did I put my Versamark ink? It's probably sitting right in front of me, but I can't see it. Hold on, I'll be right back. It was right in front of my face, I just didn't see it. So rub my embossing buddy over this little piece of cardstock again to get rid of any static electricity, because we don't want any of that gold embossing powder sticking where we don't want it. And I'm going to, I found that you could use this rubber mat sometimes too as extra cushion when you're stamping with a photopolymer stamp set. So I'm going to stamp that sentiment right there. Close up my ink, and I'll add a little gold embossing powder. There we go, that looks good. And we'll heat that. I love heat embossing. It's like magic. Okay, so there, now that's embossed. And where are my paper snips? I'm going to banner this one end. Maybe. If I can hold my snip steady. Okay, and I'm going to add a dimensional to the left end on the back and attach it over the top of the flamingo. And now I have some Melon Mambo Baker's twine. I'm going to tie a little bow. See how easy that was? Little bow. And I'm going to take a glue dot and I'll attach this little bow to one end of the banner, and then I'm going to trim. There you go. Isn't he cute? Now he's ready, or she's ready, to be attached to the front of the card. So I'm going to flip it over and add a dimensional in each corner. And I'm going to stick this little pink flamingo down on the front of my card. And there you go. We've got another card for our card box. Okay, in part 2, we'll be making the card box.